take us back to the day when you got a call from the White House to be First Lady Michelle Obama's official hairstylist.
So that particular call happened later on. So the call I initially got was from my agent to be booked with her for an Essence photo shoot. And at the time, she was not in the White House. She was a senator's wife. And this shoot took place maybe 2 to 3 weeks after they had announced their candidacy on Oprah. And I remember seeing her on there and seeing Mr. Obama on there. And I was just like, okay, I see this black couple that saying that they're going to run for president. And to be honest, I wasn't that optimistic. I didn't think it could be even possible. None of us really ever did. But he was extremely inspiring, and she was as well. And I was very happy to get a call from my agent to work with her. It was an editorial shoot, and you know how it is with editorial. You don't get paid much.
And let's break that down for people who are listening in, because some people this is new information for, but a lot of people are like, I just want to be on the cover. Let them know it's not big money.
No. Editorial work, how they look at it is, we're giving you credit in the magazine and mad exposure to so many millions of people, whoever read and follow that magazine. So editorial work is pretty simplistic. You're a part of helping to tell the story of whatever their imagery is on the cover. And it's like, the most I think you can get is $350, but typically editorial work is around $150 or $200. It maybe could have gone up a little more, but it's not much. I'm sure it's not even at $500.
I can't wait for you to hear from our featured guest today. He is an entrepreneur, a hairstylist, and a mentor. He is the artistic style director for Soft Sheen Carson Inc, a division of L'Oreal USA. His work has appeared in Vogue, Essence, Glamour, and InStyle, just to name a few. He offers his hair and styling advice to the public as a monthly guest on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. His wizardry can be seen on the likes of beauties including First Lady Michelle Obama, actress Tamron Hall, Sherry Shepherd, Vanessa Williams, and R&B vocalist Janelle Monáe. He is passionate about encouraging stylists to realize what's beyond the chair and show how far their hands can take them. Our featured guest today is none other than the hair wizard himself, first stylist Johnny Wright. Welcome to the show today, Johnny.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we are so happy to have you. Johnny, it is an absolute honor.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's an honor to be here. I mean, anytime I'm able to shed a light on other stylists or even anyone that is just looking to find their passion and do what they love, it's a great opportunity for me, and I like to be a part of anything like that.
Wonderful. Well, Johnny, we always like to get the top of the show started with a little bit of inspiration. So can you share with our audience your favorite empowerment quote?
It's actually it's a quote that I love. It's very simple, but it means so much. It's very impactful. And I think this is my quote because I started it not too long ago, but it's called, "The truth hurts, but not as long as a lie does. So just be honest."
Ooh.
I always tell people, just tell the truth. It's good for business. It's good for all type of relationship, whether it be romantic or platonic or just, simple friendships. You want to make sure you always are honest and communicate.
Oh, you are getting this show started off on the perfect note. I love it.
When you think about empowering, right? You always, empower yourself, and you always take the power when you're honest. The weakness comes when you have to deal with lying and having to, figure out how to continue to lie. But when you're honest, you always have the power. So it's just easy to be honest. So the truth hurts, but not as long as a lie does. So just be honest.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get your start in the beauty industry?
So I started really young. My grandmother was a hairstylist. She did hair. She started doing hair when she was 13, and she did hair till she was 91 years old. She passed when she was 93. She was taught under the likes of Madam C.J. Walker and people like that. So she really was able to develop her craft very early on in life, and so was I. My grandmother said that she noticed that my interest in hair when I was 3 years old, stating that I used to comb my hair in a clean ponytail at the age of 3.
Wow.
But I started doing hair between the ages of 10 and 12. And because I kind of came from a hairstylist background. My grandmother did hair in the house. She had a little salon on the back porch. I grew up on a, south side of Chicago, and my grandmother had clients that had been coming to her since before my mother was born. So, she had clients that come to her for 70 years, and they were faithful to her, and they always wanted her to style hair, and they had this great bond that you could just tell that they had. So I was always connected to that. I love the smell of Dax grease in the house. She used to press the hair whenever her actual stove would go out. She would use the stove in the kitchen and use the fire, and she would press the hair. I mean, there was no one that can give a better press and curl than Minnie Brown. And I learned a lot from her. My grandmother didn't necessarily sit me down and walk me through everything because I was the type of stylist and still am the type of stylist that can look and learn, and I can just watch something and pick up real quickly. But I know that most of my craft came through the development of being around my grandmother.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was awesome. I love it.
Okay, you said so much in just that one little intro. I'm like, wait, hold up. Did you say Madam C.J. Walker?
Yeah. That's what she was taught on them years ago, Madam C.J. Walker, and of course she was the first black millionaire. And the industry was hair, and hair is still a huge industry. And I just want people to learn to respect it and really honor it and understand the power and the value that they have in this world as hairstylists. It's really a big deal.
Oh my God. Your grandmother is a hair legend.
Yeah, she is. She definitely is. So she worked at the John Hancock building in Chicago. She also worked in Oprah Winfrey Studios when it first opened up in the John Hancock building. My grandmother used to take me to the salon with her years ago. I used to remember going and spend the whole day in the salon in downtown Chicago where she worked. So she was definitely on a high-end part of the salon industry. She wasn't, in the Shaquita's salon. She had a luxury presence. She owned a few salons herself. I think one in Little Rock, Arkansas, and a couple in Chicago area. But again, she did hair till she was 91 years old. So she died doing what she loves.
Oh my God. Such a beautiful story.
Yep.
And would you say she's been one of the most influential persons in your life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She is probably the most influential person in my life when it comes down to the hair world and developing my craft. Of course, my parents are extremely supportive. My mom, Bernita Wright, and my father, Edward Wright, were both very supportive in my early development of my hair craft because, mostly because my mom saw a successful woman grow up being a hairstylist, and she was able to get what she wanted, and she was pretty spoiled and had a pretty good life for herself, and it was all through my grandmother being a hairstylist. And so my father was supportive as well too. My father actually built a salon in the basement of our home when I was 14 years old. Changed the whole basement into a salon for me, and I was able to continue my practice and really get creative and have a lot of fun doing that. And I did all this through, high school on through, I graduated from high school and then I finally went to hair school. I mean, I had planned on going to hair school or taking cosmetology courses when I was in high school because at the time, Percy L. Julian, the high school I attended, had a cosmetology program, but you couldn't take it until you was a sophomore. And I was a freshman and I thought, sophomore year, I'll take it. But they ended up taking it out of the school. I guess
Oh no!
they lost the budget and then they couldn't do it anymore. So it wasn't there anymore when I turned a sophomore. But I started doing hair when I was like in 8th grade,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was fine because, how I really got my start and how I gained my popularity was I convinced this girl, prior to going to high school, I, did my neighbors and my church friends and my church family and other family members, and I have 3 brothers. I'm one of 4 boys in the family, and my brother's girlfriends and their friends. I would do their hair, and then, a couple of schoolmates, grammar school. But when I got to high school, what really gained my popularity was I convinced this popular girl by the name of Zakila Farrow, and the reason why I focused on her was because honestly, her brothers were so attractive. I mean, the whole family was attractive, honestly, and I had the hugest crush on her brother.
I love it.
I think his name was Lamar, and I just wanted to be close.
Lamar.
I think I wanted to be close to him, and so I was like, let me get close to her. But I don't know if I had I think it was a natural thought, intuition to think that, I would get more clients, but I wasn't trying to build clients. I just wanted her to know I can do hair and I could do it really well. You'll be shocked. So I convinced Tequila to let me do her hair for free. She came and got her hair done. The next day she came to school. Everybody wanted to know who did her hair. Within that first year, my freshman year, I amassed over 100 clients, just
Unbelievable.
from Tequila Farrell, and I'm grateful to her still to this day. I always add her to all my stories. I think we connected not too long ago on Facebook or something, so I know, she know I still talk about her and all that kind of stuff, and she knows what the inspiration was, her brother at this point.
Tequila and Lamar,
Yep.
the launching pad for Johnny Wright's hairstyling career.
Yep. That was the launching pad. And then I started to do my teachers and things like that. So, I always told people I didn't know much about trigonometry, but I got an A out of the class simply because I did Miss Furcron's finger waves and French rolls. Yeah. So
I love it. All the young hairstylists listening in right now are like, okay, yes, I'm going to use that trick. Yes.
Right.
So Johnny, tell me, as the young stylist Johnny, the 12-year-old who just got started, oftentimes I say people see things in us that we don't always see in ourselves. Did you see this life that you're living now? Did you see that? Did you envision that at 12?
Probably not at 12, but it began to. I always had big dreams, and I always felt that the sky was the limit. I have never been a person that set goals. I always feel that goals are kind of limiting, and I always tell people the sky's the limit and just reach for the stars. Because we set these goals and we say, oh, by this time I'm gonna, and you could be doing much more than that by that time. So why set the goal and just know that you're gonna reach for the stars and you're gonna accomplish anything and more that you ever wanted to accomplish. So I kind of always had that type of personality, and it may have been because of my church upbringing. I'm not as churchy now. I do have that background. I'm more spiritual than anything. But I've always been able to have this energetic, positive personality. I mean, it could be the worst situation. I'm always trying to find the best out of it. And I think that's what made me such a great hairstylist, because I always was able to see the good in people, regardless of whatever negative energy or vibe or persona that they had. I was like, well, I just see this person as this or that. So I was always welcoming to people in my chair. But yeah, I didn't have it probably at 12. But as I got older, because people always ask me now, was I surprised when, I got the call that I'm doing the first lady's hair? I was like, no, I'm not. Am I proud of myself? And I'm very humbled and grateful for the experience? Yes. But am I surprised? Absolutely not, because I've always been a big, big dreamer.
That's so inspiring. So tell us about that. Take us back to the day when you got a call from the White House to be First Lady Michelle Obama's official hairstylist.
So that particular call happened later on. So the call I initially got was from my agent to be booked with her for an Essence photo shoot. And at the time, she was not in the White House. She was a senator's wife. And this shoot took place maybe 2 to 3 weeks after they had announced their candidacy on Oprah. And I remember seeing her on there and seeing Mr. Obama on there, and I was just like, okay, I see this black couple that saying that they're going to run for president. And to be honest, I wasn't that optimistic. I didn't think it could be even possible. None of us really ever did. But he was extremely inspiring, and she was as well. And I was very happy to get a call from my agent to work with her. It was an editorial shoot, and you know how it is with editorial. You don't get paid much.
And let's break that down for people who are listening in, because some people this is new information for, but a lot of people are like, I just want to be on the cover. Let them know it's not big money.
No. Editorial work, how they look at it is, we're giving you credit in the magazine and mad exposure to so many millions of people, whoever read and follow that magazine. So editorial work is pretty simplistic. You're a part of helping to tell the story of whatever their imagery is on the cover. and it's like, the most I think you can get is $350, but typically editorial work is around $150 or $200. It maybe could have gone up a little more, but it's not much. And I'm sure it's not even at $500. Of course, if you're editorial styles and freelance styles and you do a whole bunch of those, of course you can rack up with some cash. But with me, I was in the salon and I was working in the salon. So the thing is, I patterned my work schedule after my parents. So my parents worked Monday through Friday, and I did the same. So I was off on Saturdays and Sundays typically, right? And I didn't do, the most people have, hairstylist schedule as they normally have, where they're off Sundays and Mondays. I didn't start doing that till I got much older. And so I started taking off Sundays and Mondays, and my agent was like, "Hey, this is a photo shoot that's on a Monday. It's not paying much, but I'm sure you ain't doing nothing anyway. You do it." I was like, "Sure, I'll go do it." Not thinking anything of it. I go, I meet her, I do her hair. She loved her hair. We hit it off, but that really wasn't the beginning of anything, really. It was just that happened. She liked the hair, and her chief of staff at the time took my information down, Melissa Winter. And so then between the time that I met her and the second time that I did her in Chicago, I had decided to move to Los Angeles because I wanted to have a more television presence, and I had a trailer under my belt that I had produced, and I felt like I needed to go to LA to pitch it. And Tamron Hall at the time had just got her promotion and moved from Fox News in Chicago to MSNBC in New York. And I showed her my trailer, and she was like, "Johnny, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. This trailer is amazing, but you need to go to where it's at. It's not in Chicago. This is not the place for it." And immediately it made total sense to me. And I was like, "You're right." And I literally decided in that moment, I'm going to move to LA. And I pretty much moved in 3 months. I decided to move, and I got all my stuff together, and I left over 300 clients in Chicago to Los Angeles.
Wow.
So in between that time of me meeting her and doing it the second time, I decided to move to LA. And the second time I got called, the first time was Essence, and the next one was Old Magazine. And it was in one of the States building downtown Chicago. And I remember her chief of staff, Melissa, called and said, "Hey, we was wondering if you can come in for this photo shoot." I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll do it." And I came in, I did her, but I also told her, I said, "I'm moving to LA, great to meet you, kind of like a good luck, bye." And didn't think I would even see her.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Because I had my eyes set on, LA.
Yes.
And I moved to LA, and the campaign became extremely popular and intense. So they were on the West Coast a lot. So her chief of staff kept in contact with me. So whenever she was in LA, I would keep her camera ready, whether it be for Jay Leno appearance or Ellen DeGeneres appearance, or if there was a conference that she was a part of, or a fundraiser, because there was a lot of fundraisers going on through the campaign. I was called to keep her hair camera ready. And when it really all changed was the first Democratic National Convention was in Denver, which is on the west side of the country. And they thought, "Oh, well, Johnny's in LA. He can come to Denver and be with you the whole week." And her chief of staff called me and said, "Can you do it?" I said, "Sure." So I was working at Fakai at the time, but they were liking this attention. Fakai was like, "Wait a minute, you're doing this popular senator's wife, and they're running for president. Yeah, you can take off a whole." So they gave me the time off, and I went to Denver, and it was the night of her speech. And I remember that morning, I did her for some other stuff that she did. I think she spoke somewhere, and the evening was her speech, her big speech that she did in a turquoise dress. And I remember asking her if she would shampoo her hair, because like I said earlier, prior to this moment, I had only really kept her hair camera ready. I wasn't really styling her hair. I was touching it up, making it look good, making it look fresh, but it wasn't my real stamp, So she was a little reluctant, because she had just got a relaxer maybe 2 or 3 days before. So she was like, "I don't need my hair shampooed." And I had this kind of look in my face, "Please do it." And she did it. And I was so happy she did. I ended up giving her just a slight little trim, which was really a cut, but a slight little trim. And I just did my thing with it. And it paid off. And the next day, not only did they speak a lot about her speech, they also spoke a lot about her hair. I mean, every channel was covering it, whether it be The View, Good Morning America, Today's Show, or CBS. All of them talked about her hair. So I know that it definitely made an impact, and I think that's when she kind of fell in love with Johnny Wright too. But of course, that was the DNC, and then come back to LA, and I'm home, and a few months later, it's the night of the election, and I decided to have an election party at my house. And thinking to myself, this can go horribly wrong. Like, why would I do this? They could be losing, but I'm having a party. I was like, well, we have drinks and food, and we'll have a good time no matter what. I don't think anybody really expected it anyway, you know? And then they ended up winning. And we had an amazing time and had fun at the election party. And then maybe 2 weeks later, and a lot of my friends was asking me, do you think you're going to? I was like, no, of course not. Because, Ronnie Flowers, who I admire and respect, was her stylist since she was 17 years old. And wow. I just thought for sure he would pack his stuff and move to D.C. and be with her, or however it worked out. He'd fly back and forth. I didn't know at the time. And I was just saying, no, I don't think that's going to happen. But then in the back of my mind, I was like, I wonder, will it happen? But I honestly didn't think it would happen. So I get a call maybe like 2 to 3 weeks after the election from Melissa again and say, hey, first they would like it if you can come to DC to do her hair for a Vogue photo shoot. For the cover of Vogue, and I was like, "Oh my God, yes!" And so I was set to come out there for the photo shoot, and still not thinking that I'm going to be your hairstylist. I honestly, what I felt was they were throwing me a bone for working with them throughout the campaign. It was like, we're going to give him the cover of Vogue. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, every hairstylist, every stylist, every makeup artist, they want to get the cover of Vogue, of course. I was like, well, and I'm about to get the cover of Vogue with the first Black First Lady of the United States. Yes, I want to do this. So I get the call. They book my flight and everything. I go to DC, and I remember before I left LA, because I was supposed to be there. I arrived on January 13th of that year, and I was supposed to leave. I arrived January 12th, actually. And I was supposed to do her hair for the shoot the morning of the 13th and then leave that evening to come back to LA. So I was only supposed to be there for one night. But I packed my bags as if I was going to stay through the inauguration. And that was almost a week away. So it was like 7-8 days more than what I was supposed to stay. So I packed a big bag, put my tux in there. I had more clothes just for anything. I said, some just told me, which, of course I know what that something is.
We know what that is.
Told me just pack your bag as if you was going to stay there. So I did that. And I arrived. They put me up at the Hay Adams Hotel, which is a hotel right across the street from the Wright House. And I get there on the 12th. And I get some sleep. And the next morning, I think I had a conversation with Melissa telling me where I had to be. It's because the shoot was actually in the hotel. And I wake up the next morning, I arrive at the shoot, and the first lady's there, and the first thing she asked me before I even started, she said, would you be open to moving to DC? And I said, of course. With no hesitation. I said, yes, I would totally move to DC. And she was like, okay, well done. You'll be to DC. And
unbelievable.
I know. And I did the shoot. Then I had a conversation. And then not just that, she asked me that. She was like, are you able to stay through the inauguration? Because she had all these things leading up to the inauguration. Like the traditional train ride they do for Philly, the church appearance that they do, a couple of other things that they do before inauguration. And I was like, in fact, I am prepared to stay through the inauguration. She was like, well, perfect. You can stay through the inauguration and we'll make sure you get access to go to the balls and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, perfect. And I ended up staying. So I had a conversation with her chief of staff, Melissa, about how this will all look. She wanted me to specify how I wanted to get paid and what I wanted to get paid and those things like that. And I literally sat down that day and wrote her an email. She thanked me for giving her such a clean precise email and it was very clear. I remember that. And she accepted it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I stayed there. I didn't do her hair the night of the inauguration. Ronnie did her for that day. But I did her for everything leading up to that. And I also styled the girls and her mom for all the other stuff they had to appear for, too. So that's how it all started. And I literally moved a month and a day later, which was basically Valentine's Day of that year, to D.C. I went back to L.A., packed all my stuff, and moved to D.C.
What an extraordinary story, Johnny.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I have like 10,000 questions
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Okay, first off, hats off, big ups to you because you rocked that hair. When I tell you, the minute you started talking about that, the Democratic National Convention, obviously we're hairstylists, right?
Yeah.
You know that's all we do is we stare at hair. Everybody remembers what color she had on, her nail polish, makeup. Oh no. When I tell you, I remember exactly what her hair looked like. And I did not know who did it at the moment. I was just like, oh my God, that hair is on point. It was voluminous and it had movement and bounce. It was just flawless.
Yeah, well, thanks to, and I have to give credit to Frederick Fakai because they put the whip on me in learning how to do a proper round brush on any texture of hair. And prior to moving to LA and working at Fakai, I hadn't really worked with many different textures. I came from Chicago where 90% of my, or 95% of my clientele was African American, and then moved to LA and 95% of my clientele were white or, women. So I had to learn a whole new way of styling hair, which I am so thankful for. And the round brushing became a essential technique in getting that voluminous look that you saw. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what that was from. It was a little bit of flat ironing and also round brushing afterwards.
It was gorgeous, beautiful, perfect execution. It was, and it's funny that you say that, but I guess everybody did notice a shift. They're like, wait a minute, there's something new. It's something different.
Well, I always say this, and this is something I'm pretty sure the White House would not want me to say because it's not necessarily politically correct, but this is just my opinion. And I do think if you did a graph of, and this is just how we are, this is how America, this is how people are. So this is just a statement of that. Mm-hmm. If you did a graph of the way that she looked, and I'll say her total look from the beginning to now, and you also paired that graph with her popularity, you would see that her popularity began to grow as her look started to change. And that's not to say anything negative about Ikram on how she was styling her, or Ingrid on how she was doing her makeup, or even Ronnie Flowers on how he did her hair. It's just to say everybody has a different stroke of the brush, right? Mm-hmm. We're all artists, and we all have a different way of interpreting art, and some people's interpretation may connect with more people. So I think as she started to grow, and as we start to grow, and her look started to grow, her popularity started to grow as well too, because people want to be attracted to you. They want to be attracted to you before they listen to you. And that's just how this world works.
And that goes back to something you said earlier when you were talking about how don't diminish your value as a hairstylist or as a beauty professional, because a lot of people outside looking in, they're like, oh, some of us didn't go to college, or we didn't go to university, and we don't have a BA, or we don't have a master's. So some parts of the world that have that, people in the world can look down and go, oh, look at you as you're a lesser citizen.
Well,
but that.
No, it's very true. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's very true what you're saying. It's the thing is I had those challenges. I thought like that sometimes. I always felt like, am I smart enough because I didn't get a degree in certain things? But then I start to realize that I'm smarter than most people,
Yes,
But it just takes you a while to kind of get there. But this is what I want to put out there, especially since I have this opportunity to talk to other hairstylists. What we need to learn is we're not just a hairstylist, a hair designer, a beautician, whatever you want to call it. We are storytellers, and we help to tell people's story. Whether it be you're a editorial or freelance stylist and all you do is session work, you're clearly telling stories there, because if you're working with designers or if you're working with a campaign, this particular campaign have a new product coming out, they have a certain women that they want to connect to. So there's a storyline that comes with this product, and they want to make that clear connection so the woman can purchase it off the shelf, right? And you have to be, especially if it's a hair product, a part of telling that story. So you're a storyteller, whether it be a designer and they have a specific new collection coming out for the fall season or the summer season, whatever it is, and they have a story of the woman that this connects to. When you're doing their hair for those editorial shoots, or if you're helping them for their runway, for their presentation for Fashion Week, you are helping them tell their story. And then when it comes down to the client that is in your chair, whether she is a doctor, a lawyer, a school teacher, a stay-at-home mom, or just a sassy gold digger, whatever she wants to be, you are helping to tell her story by giving her the look that identifies with her story. And that's what we need to understand. When you are a storyteller, not just a hairstylist, you will see your value being more than just somebody that is putting some curls in somebody's head.
Oh, I just got chills.
Yeah.
I just got chills. We need to understand our worth and our value.
Yes, it's important. It is important, and we don't, And a lot of times, people have diminished our worth and our value, and we've taken the time to believe it. We don't fight back, and we do feel like, well, maybe because they're degreed that they can't have that opinion about us and all this stuff. Let me tell you something. When I moved to DC, I was a little intimidated because you had this thought in my mind. I had this thought in my mind, like, DC is this place of all these extremely smart people, right? And it's the political world, which I, at the time, had no interest in and knew very little about. I had my opinions. I kind of knew a couple of things, but really knew very little about it. And I would honestly say the president's first campaign, is really what inspired me to learn more about the political world. And I think he's done that for a lot of people. But I was moving to DC, I'm like thinking to myself, oh my God, am I going to be able to hold a conversation with these? Am I going to be able to? And I found myself kind of checking these people on the things that they were saying. And I was like, wait a minute, did I just say that? Like, and I was like, then I realized I'm smart and more. It's like these people aren't just degrees don't equal smartness. I always tell people, people have, a wealth of knowledge, right? And those people are typically deemed as smart. You look at them because they have all this information that is based really off of memory, if you really think about it, right? So they have this wealth of knowledge that they have, stored in their brain, and they could shoot off any historical moment or talk about a particular president and what they meant. And these are all things that seemingly makes a person smart, right? Or come off more intellectual. But what I find is the smartest ones are the ones that have a balance of that, but have more of common sense. And you can put it with the intellect and the memory that you have from this wealth of knowledge that you read or you studied. But you got to have some real life experiences. And that's what makes you smart. Us as hairstylists, we live that. We have people in our chair every day, different women in our chair. And I can cater a lot of my knowledge and a lot of my intelligence to my clientele. I've had women from all walks of life, owners of radio stations, lawyers, celebrities, now the first lady. And I've been able to take the opportunity to learn from them because we're having real life experiences. That to me is what smart is. And that to me, what really represents genius than anything.
Oh my God. I'm having so many aha moments just listening to you. But you know what? It's so true, Johnny, because I feel the same way. I credit much of the success that I have achieved in my career to my clients. Not only are they, talking to me, they're encouraging me, they're sharing with me, they're opening up. Sometimes our clients share things with us that they wouldn't tell their best friends.
Their husbands. I mean, it's a very intimate relationship. And that's why I always tell people, don't take this lightly. Don't think that you have some license that, listen, we are one of the few professions that are licensed to touch. Okay? Not a lot of people can say they have a license to touch another human being. We are lawfully able to touch another human being. You should not take that lightly because with touch, you can have inspiration. You can grow. You can be empowered. You can learn a lot about a person just from touching them. And if you allow yourself to understand that worth, you will understand you're totally different than just some old hairstylist. And it's not about just being a hairstylist. And you think about what you learn in, I don't know how long it took you to get your license. 9 months if you do it full time, 18 months part time. Sometimes it takes longer than that. All the stuff that you learn about from head to toe about the human anatomy in that amount of time, people have no idea what we learn. They think we go in there and learn how to do finger waves, and we know how to do. We learn stuff that doctors learn.
Yes.
We learn what causes allergies and what people are allergic to, and how to correct things, and when is the proper time to recommend them to a dermatologist. And that is beyond what we can do. We need some type of medical attention. These are the things that we learn in cosmetology school. These are the things that our Milady's manual teaches us. And at the end of the day, we allow people to demean our position in this world. You shouldn't do that. Yeah.
You know, I often say we don't just touch hair, we touch hearts.
We touch hearts, absolutely. We do.
We make a huge difference in many people's lives on a daily basis, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to do that, to do what you love, to be rewarded for it, but also to have that connection that you talked about, to sit down, talk to a client, look in someone's eye and speak to them, speak to their heart, and make that connection. That's all what we're yearning for and longing for as human beings, just to feel loved and to connect with each other.
Exactly. We are. And that you have the direct connection in the salon chair. I always tell people a woman is such a vulnerable position for a woman to be in a salon chair. You got to think about it. She's sitting down, her back is to you, you have her covered with a cape, and you're working on her crown. She is extremely vulnerable and don't even realize it. So that's why when they sit in the chair, they start spilling their guts. Oh my God, I cheated on my husband. Oh, or whatever it is. Because they're so automatically vulnerable, they just feel like they just want to release and let go. And we find out so many things. And that's why it's important for us not to be gossipers and tell other people's business. Because I always tell people, I get so much information, I can't even remember it. I don't want to talk about. I want to talk about who's in my chair now. I don't want to talk about what I talked about with the last person. Yes, it's just I got to let that go. I got to move on.
So let's talk about that a little bit more, Johnny, because that's a fine line for a lot of people who are open books and they just word vomit, know. And as a hairstylist or a beautypreneur in general, whether you're a manicurist or a fashion stylist or a makeup artist, or even a massage therapist, our clients come and they confide in us. But let's talk about the importance of client confidentiality and having discretion as a beautypreneur.
There's no other way to be successful as a hairstylist if you don't have discretion and you don't respect people's rights of privacy. That's important. And for me, it was more natural to do because, again, I was always excited about the next person in my chair and I want to know what's going on in their life and talk about them. It's not as if the next client's story didn't remind me of a previous client and I didn't bring that up in the conversation, but I'm not giving names. I'm like, oh yeah, I had another client that went through da-da-da-da or whatever. I would say things like that, but giving specifics and giving their name, I just don't do that. And I think, I learned a lot from that, from being a hairstylist so young. I look back and I realize how my life, had really was shaped for me to be the First Lady's hairstylist. I had done so many things that now that I'm actually in the bubble, I see why I did that. At the time, I probably was like, why am I doing this? Or why did I just have that experience? But all of it came to fruition once I started working with the First Lady. And you're talking about the ultimate amount of discretion and privacy. And it's important for her to have that and to be able to trust me. And I don't want to lose that trust for nothing in the world, And luckily, I have been this way throughout my career, and it's been easy for me to obtain it throughout, my time with the First Lady. I don't want to tell people's business. It's not important. And again, do unto others as you want people to do unto you. If you don't want people telling your business, don't tell other people's business. What goes around comes around. It's just that simple. Karma is a what, right? It's the truth. And you shouldn't do it. I mean, that's if you need to go, just make it simple. If you can't get the morality part out, just understand what you do unto others will happen to you. What goes around comes around. What you reap is what you sow.
Absolutely. So, Johnny, give us a sneak peek. A sneak peek. What is the day in the life of Johnny Wright like?
Oh God, there's so much going on. Well, right now I'm really working on this roadmap for my conclusion here in DC and at the White House. Of course, I'll still be with the First Lady in some capacity, but my priorities will probably shift a little bit. So I'm working on a whole lot of things to really, map out a plan for what's happening after 2016. So with that being said, I'm having conference calls and I'm having a lot of meetings. I'm back and forth on the phone with both of my managers. I have two managers, one that take care of my television presence side and wanted to get me back on TV and doing things like that. And I have one that deals with my endorsement side and ambassador side. So I figured out I needed two. I couldn't find one in the same. So a lot of conference calls, a lot of creative sessions by myself to figure it out. But I get up in the morning, and the First Lady's call time is usually between 9 and 10. And I get there and I start her right after her makeup is done. We get her ready, and she goes and do whatever she has to do for the day. Sometimes there's touch-ups throughout the day. So if there's touch-ups soon after, I'll stick around. We may have some tapings to do because we want to make sure that she's always camera ready, of course. And we'll probably go down somewhere in the White House area to do a taping, a PSA, an announcement, or whatever she needs to be doing. And if there's no touch-ups, I'll leave. I'll make sure I have time at the gym every day. I am a gym freak. I have mostly because I'm just vain, just being honest. But I do know it's good for you at the same time. I am not in a salon like I used to be. I hadn't been in a salon since June, and my first day back in the salon was this past Saturday. So it felt really good to be in the salon and working on my practice, because I always tell people, don't give up the salon totally, because this is a practice and you have to keep practicing at it and make sure you don't lose it. You use it or you lose it. That's what it boils down to. So I do like my salon days, but I had just been traveling a lot lately. I'm in New York every week, just about. My office is there. I'm the artistic style director for Soft Sheen Carson. So we're doing a lot of different things, and we're gearing up for next year. So we have some launches coming up. So a lot of planning around that. And I also have my client, Tamron Hall, in New York. So I'm there often to do her. She's on Today's Show. And I just love working with Tamron. She's a total difference in working with First Lady, because her hair is so short and it's like fun and flirty. So I like to do something totally different. So I have a couple of other clients. I know you said a day, but I'm trying to give you my
No, I love it. We want it all here at the Hair Artist Podcast. We soak it all up. We're sponges.
And so I have a few other clients around the country, one in Chicago and Florida and Los Angeles, that fly me to them to get their hair done. So I do a lot of traveling. I mean, it's bananas how much I travel, and then I'm still kind of walking and dealing with it. But I travel a lot. I probably have, in my lifetime, have been on over 5,000 flights. Seriously, I travel a lot. So back and forth with that, and then other than that, I try to have a little fun. I like to work hard and play hard too. So I try to hook up with my friends here. I'm going to a fun dinner party tonight, which I'm really excited about. A friend of mine that I haven't really seen in a while. His birthday is today, and I get to kind of reconnect with my DC friends that I haven't seen. I saw a couple of them this past Sunday because I went to brunch, but I just don't get a chance to see them because I'm never really here. So that's pretty much how my month kind of plays out. It could vary. I could be at the White House with the First Lady 4 days a week, or I could be at 1 day a week, or I could be there every day. I know we're gearing up for the holiday season, and pretty much after Thanksgiving, there's a party at the White House every night for the holidays, for Christmas, and they cater to different parties and different groups and different organizations. So there's always different parties every night. So I'll be at the White House pretty much every day during that time. Where we start in the morning and there are touch-ups in the evening and things like that. So I'll be at the White House often during that time. But, it literally varies. It's according to the First Lady's schedule. She is my priority. So my assistant, so how it works for me, because I think this is good to tell people, because people really don't, if they ever get this type of success or get this busy, they need to have some type of plan in order. I have
Yes.
an assistant. My assistant name is Yanae Damtu. She is from Los Angeles. I brought her with me from Los Angeles. And so she's been my assistant for a little over 8 years now. What is unique about Yanae is that she handles my administrative side and she also handles my personal life. So Yanae is a personal and a professional assistant, and she is a licensed hairstylist.
Wow.
So she is
All in one.
definitely a diamond in the rough. She
Yes.
schedules everything for me. A lot of people, I think, are offended when I say call my assistant, but I really don't. I'm not trying to be like, like bougie or
Bougie, just say it.
that. I'm saying like she's the real Johnny Wright, and if you really want to get me for something, you better contact her because I like today I booked something with somebody randomly on my own.
Uh-huh.
And I totally forgot that this was booked, and I had to
Oh
call
Lord.
I double booked, and I'm sorry, I never really handle my schedule. We have to figure out another time. But yeah, so she schedules everything out. She acts as the liaison between everything. So the White House scheduling office contacts her with the first lady's schedule. She implements that schedule into my schedule. Then everything else that is booked around, whether it be HSN or L'Oreal or all my other clients, are booked around the first lady's schedule, and which makes it easier for me to like just go and operate however my day is planned. So it works out perfectly. I do have another assistant. Her name is Jerry Radway, and she basically works with me in the salon and does some odd here and there personal things as well too, because it's just hard for me to do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
On myself. So it's not like I'm like, oh, I need an assistant. I actually really do need an assistant to do it all myself. And it makes life much easier for me. So I'm really thankful for her. I'm really happy that she is with me, and she's been with me for a very long time. And I will listen. She's amazing, and I have had my billion-dollar venture capitalists try to steal her from me, and I'm like, it's not.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Not
they
happening.
love her. Everybody thinks she's amazing, and she is. She's really, really good. She's stern. She actually is able to, cuss people out, so I don't have to do it. She's the bad guy all the time, so it works out perfect for me. And I can just come and show up and just be ready for whatever it is with a smile on my face. After I know just put a whooping on everybody,
Oh yes.
But that's pretty much how my life works out. I really enjoy what I'm doing. I really enjoy my life. I always tell people it's important to do what you love and love what you do. I don't want anyone to waste their time, contemplating and hoping and wishing they could do something that they may feel is just a hobby, or they may feel that they won't make money from. You won't know until you try, and you got to at least try. And once you start putting one step forward, everything else will fall right into place. I promise you. Do what you love and love what you do. That is the key to life.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, Johnny, tell us, what do you feel is your secret to success?
I think my secret to success is it's kind of double fold. I am extremely professional, and I'm just trustworthy. You can just trust me, and it's not just trust me to know that I'm not going to tell your business, but you can trust me to know that I am giving you the best and the most honest opinion that I can give you, whether it be how this particular hairstyle that you may want look like. Oh, that looks horrible. I don't think you should do that. Whatever it is, I'm not doing it. I'm not telling you this because I don't feel like doing it. I got too many clients. You're the last client of the day. I'm telling you this that because I'm just being honest. Back to my favorite quote. So I really do think it's me being very trustworthy and also extremely professional, and making people feel like they have something luxury working for them. These stylists want to charge these luxury prices, but they're giving them, mediocre service. You can't do that. You gotta treat yourself like a luxury product, and that's what I do.
Treat yourself like a luxury product.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Oh, Johnny, you are getting ready to enter Brenda's boardroom.
Let's do it.
If you had to start your business all over, you know no one, you have zero clients, what's the first thing you would do to begin building your business and turning a profit?
You know what? That's a tricky question because I hate to say it this way, but I wouldn't do it any different than I did it the first time. It was so perfect. I don't know another answer for that. I mean, to me, I would make sure my craft is on point. So I would definitely spend a lot of time practicing my work. And I would try to network as much as possible to get women in my chair, offer free services. That's important. And make sure that they are out there spreading the word about Johnny Wright, which is not much different what I did the first time. But that's what I would do. I would really just spend a lot of time developing my craft and, do as much networking as possible.
Finish this sentence. Entrepreneurship is?
Entrepreneurship is a lot of work. Okay. And I don't want people to think that it isn't. And that's why I chose to answer and then finish this sentence with that, because I think a lot of people look at ownership as this person or this boss that kind of like points and say, do this, do that. No. You have to put a lot of work, a lot of energy in it. And being an entrepreneur is even more taxing on you than just being an employee of someone. So please trust and believe that entrepreneurship is a lot of work.
Fill in the blank. I love what I do because.
I love what I do because it makes me feel so good. That's first and foremost. It makes me feel amazing. And I also love what I do because I get to meet so many different women and so many different people from all walks of life. And I've been able to learn so much from them. And I love what I do because of that, those two things.
Johnny, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this. You look, I know you double booked yourself, but I'm going to say on behalf of the HAA podcast listeners, we are so happy that you chose to go with us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm happy to have done this. So I really thank you for your time, for even asking me to do this. And I want to be somewhat of a voice of inspiration to so many people out there if they can. I remember earlier today, I was thinking to myself, I said, I just want to touch as many lives as I can. And I want to do that in the most positive way possible. So this is a way, and I know I have many more opportunities to come. So I just really want to thank you for this time.
Oh, it's indeed an honor and a pleasure. So please share with the audience. Tell them where they can find out more about you. Where can they go and find you online?
Well, you know what? I have fallen in love with Instagram. I'm really on Instagram. That's Johnny Wright 220 on Instagram. So there's Johnny with the Y, Wright with the W, and add the numbers 220 to the end. And 220 stands for second to none. And I am building a website. It's not ready yet, but I am on a website. I'm also the new partner in a new app that actually offers us where tech meets beauty. It's called Easy Beauty. So I want you ladies and gents out there to download the Easy Beauty app to your your prospective smartphones. So that's just about it. Of course, I do a little bit of posting on Twitter and a little bit of posting on Facebook, but the main social media outlets you can find me is on Instagram. I love it.
So until next time, live your purpose, pursue your passion, and be the prosperous beings you were born to be.
Thanks for listening to the Hair Artist Academy podcast. For the show notes and links discussed in today's episode, visit hairartistacademy.com.